Alright, so you're probably in the very early stage of business and you're facing a lot of rejection, whether that's from potential clients you're trying to sell to, friends you used to know who you used to speak to on a level, and now you don't speak to as much, or even women themselves. But no worries, because this video is here to help you and explain the current situations I'm going through and how this can help you in life and how you can overcome rejection when trying to start a business. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. So first things first, when you're struggling with rejection and you're trying to sell to people and you're trying to overcome your self-limiting beliefs, as I alluded to a few weeks back, and you're trying to actually produce a product or service and sell to people, you're naturally just going to be told no a bunch of times, and eventually those no's will turn into a yes, but often you have to go through many no's before you hear that one yes that changes it all. And whilst you're on this journey, you're going to always be presented with the option to cop out or keep pushing even though all odds are against you. I'll actually give a personal story here, which is actually sort of how I also got myself into this situation where I'm having to constantly double down and miss rejection. Well, I've had to hustle since sort of finishing up university, and in that I've learned a lot of lessons over the last 5 to 6 months. It's been very insightful, and I'm grateful to God that I've had the sort of struggle I've had for the last few months. In there, I obviously started a little side hustle, which was actually doing some people's gardening, doing some landscaping, and I made a decent amount of money in a short amount of time with doing that. And the idea was always to put it into my business, and if I did that, I would be in possibly a better situation than I am now. But I thought, you know what, I studied mathematics at uni, I might have a little edge here if I try to take it to the casino, as we all may think sometimes. And unfortunately my intrusive thoughts won, and I ended up essentially was trying to use a statistical strategy to overcome the roulette tables. And whilst in theory I was right, in practice it worked until it didn't. And obviously this cost me a lot of money, and I can break down the strategy. But essentially in roulette, right, when you bet, if you win double what you bet. So you win back your bet and you win another version of your bet, so you get back double. Whereas if you lose, you only lose once. So essentially, if you bet once and you lose, if you then bet double what you lost and then you win, you actually get back your first hand that you lost. And it all makes sense, it all adds up. The only caveat to that is you're going to have to be able to lose many times before you get that one big payoff. And I feel like such is the case when you're starting a business, where you're trying to approach people and sell them a product or a service. You're going to get a lot of different rejections, and instead of doubling down on the casino, which may eventually go against you, what you're going to have to do is double down on yourself, double down on your business, double down on your idea, and just double down until the point of no return, where people can't say no to you anymore, because the value and the product offering you're giving is so valuable that they have no choice but to buy it to help improve themselves. And that's essentially what I'm doing in my current situation. I've had a brief amount of sales calls. I'm trying to post online to promote the business which I'm trying to start, and obviously it's not that it's always rejections, but a lot of people have it saying yes, things they'll try and progress things, and then you don't hear back from them, which obviously is like a softer rejection, which I completely understand. It's not always personal, but in that, all I can say to other people, as I'm doing here myself, is always double down, because you're always going to have these decisions. When something bad happens, do you double down on yourself, or do you just let circumstances take control over you? And I would argue that it's always best to double down on yourself and always back yourself, because when your back's against the wall and you have nobody to turn to, that's your only choice, right? What's the other choice? What, turn down and turn around and give up, which I don't believe to be an adequate choice. So I just want to share that with people, because I believe doubling down in these situations, whether it's business, whether it's friends or family, whether it's your relationships, life, just always double down on yourself, always back yourself, always improve yourself, and eventually the table will turn. You'll win back all those old bets you lost, aka friends or people you used to know, and on top of that, you'll get the rewards for all that hard work you were putting in while you were doubling down. So while you're facing rejection when you're starting a business, everybody who's got to the situation that you want to be in, and hope to be myself in the near future, we face rejections. And often what separates us from the people who face rejection and quit is just the fact that we keep doubling down on ourselves, we keep doubling down on our service, we keep doubling down on our product. And I'll even give another example. Recently, a few videos ago, I explained how I lost all my money, which I just shared with you as well. Got a little bit cocky, thought I could go up to the casino as a mathematician, try and run the odds in my favor, which worked in theory but not in practice. And there's a rapper called 2K Baby who I've been listening to a bit more recently, and he's actually lost all his money recently, and he's been doing DoorDash. And I've seen a video online, people are clowning him, people are mocking him for filming him trying to do DoorDash. They're like, oh, you had that hit song, like, what's happened to you now? You fell off, even threatening this guy with a gun, and just pure hatred, right? what 2K's Baby done with that is he's flipped that into a W. So what he's actually done is he's made a song out of that, which is even a song suggesting how he's planning to come back, and he feels like now he's getting the attention again, he can bring back his music career. And that's something you can look at and respect, because they're keeping it real. They're showing the world, look, even though he made millions when he was in his early teens or late teens, he lost the money because he was young. He didn't necessarily know how to manage the money. So what he did was he's doubling down now on just being a legit person, you know, respect that. He's trying to do a decent job DoorDash, and he's doubling down on that. He's made a music video out of that, and I'm sure that music video will do well, and maybe off the back of this a few more people will look at it. And essentially with that, it's just he's showing he's doubling down on himself, even though the odds are against him. You know, he's at the point where he's having to do DoorDash, and he's at the point where people are clowning him online, so he's doubling down on himself. And because honestly, when you're facing rejection, the only thing you can do is double down on yourself, because always trying to go back to the person who's trying to reject you respectfully or disrespectfully is not going to work, because you're going to push them further away. So what you've got to do is just double down on yourself, double down on your idea, double down on your vision, and eventually you'll get back all those bets that you were losing, and it will all pay off in one hand, which will be the best hand you played, which is trusting yourself and trusting God to provide for you a path. And yeah, I didn't want to make this one too long, because I know people's attention spans nowadays are under attack, which I may or may not need to talk about in the near future. But look forward to seeing you guys next week, because I'll have a good video about how to approach crossroads and things like that, which was what I was going to plan. But you know, I've just come back from church. This one was pertinent on my mind, especially after the sermon I received. So yeah, just wanted to share that with you guys. And without any further ado, I will leave a link in the description to the 5 mental shifts you need to make if you want to succeed in business. And other than that, have a good one. And I know I probably need to stop doing this, but one thing to add, there's also so much more opportunity. So when you get rejected, you don't need to worry about the person or the business or the clients who's rejected you, because remember, the world is a broad place. There's 8 billion of us, so there's so many more opportunities and avenues you can go down and people you can sell to and things of that nature. So don't hold on to rejection. Don't hold on to rejection too much. Don't take it personally, because there's other people out there in which you can sell to and you can reach out to. So never take it personal, and just make sure that you don't let it stop you. Always double down on yourself and back yourself. You got this.